In this country, we believe that when you work for a living, you ought to be able to expect certain basic protections.
This week, South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg joined protesters in San Francisco. They're pushing to pass California's AB 5, which would classify Uber, Lyft, and other so-called gig workers as employees, who then get the benefits and protections of being an employee.
Consumers are worried that could make that whole thing a whole lot more expensive to the consumer. What do you say to that?
Look, I think it's a great technology with great potential, but if the only way we're making rides more affordable and accessible is by making other people miserable, namely drivers, then something's wrong.
This week's California swing for Buttigieg comes at the very same time that President Trump is preparing for a coming hurricane in the Atlantic. The president tweeting, "He's the best thing that's ever happened to Puerto Rico."
It's typical. He's talking about himself when he should be talking about how to secure the people of Puerto Rico.
President Trump hoping to divert more than $200 million from FEMA to help build his border wall.
Why in the world would we be diverting money away from emergency management at a moment when emergencies are happening more and more often?
On the issue of guns, Buttigieg wants universal background checks, supported by more than 90% of Americans. A rule in the Senate called the filibuster, which requires 60 votes to pass anything meaningful, has stopped universal background checks in the past.
I think the filibuster's days need to end. In the hands of Senate Republicans, it will continue to be a way to prevent progress from happening.
So many people in my part of the
After initial rise in the polls, Buttigieg has plateaued a bit, consistently polling fifth.
How do you sort of kickstart up into the even next level?
I do have a different approach from those who are to my left, who I think run the risk of further polarizing this country, and those who seem to believe that we can win over Republicans by sounding like Republicans. I'm looking at a different way.
The next Democratic debate is September 12th. So far, the mayor has avoided direct attacks on other Democrats.
Does it sound like you think it's too early to start attacking people?
Well, look, I'm going to draw contrasts between me and others I don't agree with, but this idea that Democrats should just be knifing each other in order to get attention, I think is a real disservice to the party.
On a personal note, this is the 4th anniversary of Pete's first date with Chasten, now his husband.
When you're experiencing the madness of the campaign trail, having somebody in your life who cares about you for you and would care about you just the same if overnight you were no longer involved in politics, I think keeps your feet on the ground. I have to say I can't imagine doing this without Chasten.
Happy anniversary to them. Watch our full interview with Mayor Pete on our political show, The Issue Is. This is on Friday at 10:30 p.m. Our show also features a debate between the Young Turks' Hassan Piker and Fox News' Gianno Caldwell.